What the hell is going on with WNBA that they cannot handle all this attention that they're getting, as well as the hate and anger towards Caitlin Clark?
The WNBA faced a defining moment. Continue shielding Brittney Griner, as it had in the past, or finally enforce accountability. In the end, the viral video, public backlash, and looming financial consequences left the league with no choice. But how did a single game against Caitlin Clark spark a suspension that could end Griner's career? This wasn't just a disciplinary move, it sent shockwaves across the basketball world.
Just a reminder, this is who Joe Biden traded for the Russian merchant of death.
What if just a few words could alter the trajectory of an entire sports league? That's precisely what happened during a routine matchup between the Indiana Fever and the Atlanta Dream. It was the fourth quarter. Tensions were high. The Fever were up by 5, and Caitlin Clark was delivering yet another performance that had fans glued to their screens.
Thursday night, Indiana Fever and Atlanta Dream played. Indiana Fever is where Caitlin Clark plays. Atlanta Dream is where Brittney Griner plays. Now you tell me what it looks like Brittney Griner is saying here.
Or the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier.
Griner, clearly frustrated, had struggled all game. As the Dream's chances slipped away, emotions boiled over. Then came the moment. After fouling out late in the game, cameras caught Griner mouthing something toward Clark. At first, it seemed like typical on-court tension. But fans quickly realized this incident wasn't going to fade quietly.
This was in the fourth quarter after Brittney Griner fouled out against Caitlin Clark, and Indiana Fever would go on to win by 5. Now I'm going to tell you what I think she said. Let's play it back. Looks to me like she is saying trash and then calling Caitlin Clark a bleep white girl.
Clips of the moment spread fast. Zoomed-in footage revealed something shocking. Griner appeared to say, "Trash effing white girl." The racism was unmistakable. Lip-reading experts reviewed the video and confirmed what fans suspected. Outrage followed immediately. Social media exploded, and the conversation only grew louder.
Now, imagine if Caitlin Clark said the inverse of this. It would be reprehensible, condemned, and understandably so. You've got all of these individual players. You have sports commentators, people like Ryan Clark, who constantly tout of the racial tensions that exist in the league, when in reality, they are the ones perpetuating and amplifying these racial tensions with their anti-white hatred for Caitlin Clark.
Griner's remark wasn't viewed as a slip-up. It was seen as intentional, personal, and indefensible. Critics called for swift action, but the WNBA stayed silent. No statements, no acknowledgement, just business as usual. That silence didn't calm the storm, it fueled it. Fans grew restless, and longtime supporters accused the league of protecting Griner despite the overwhelming evidence.
Let me explain what's happening. You are seeing a lot of very, very racist women, right? These are racist women who were told that they were God's gift to women's basketball, that they are black, and because of that, they are better than white people at sport. That's the one area that they can succeed over white people in sport.
Claims of hypocrisy flooded in. How could a league so vocal about social justice and anti-hate messaging turn a blind eye now? This wasn't just a PR problem for Griner, it became a crisis for the WNBA. Public trust began to fracture, and soon, the story was everywhere, from sports networks to national news outlets.
Okay, and the reason why she's facing backlash is because it really shows the hypocrisy of the WNBA, okay? Because the WNBA had opened up an investigation into the alleged racial slurs that have been levied against Angel Reese and other black players when they play Caitlin Clark, right? When they play in Indiana, they say, well, the fans are racist.
From ESPN commentators to independent creators, the sports world noticed the disconnect. The WNBA's inaction clashed with its public image. Social media fanned the flames with hashtags demanding accountability and the viral clip racking up. Millions of views. This wasn't just about Griner, it exposed the league's failure to live up to its own standards.
WNBA thought it'd be a good idea to investigate these racist comments, right, from fans. But yet you have these allegations from fans that, hey, Brittney Griner, right, went on a racial rant against Caitlin Clark. Now, again, did she really say that to Caitlin Clark? Personally, I really don't know, okay? I mean, to me, it certainly looks like she said effing white girl.
Then came the business implications. Sponsors watched public sentiment closely, and the league's inaction threatened those relationships. At the same time, Caitlin Clark was drawing unprecedented attention, fans, and corporate interest. The stakes weren't just reputational, they were financial. Clark wasn't just a sensation, she was a brand asset.
This was anybody else, right? And these allegations were being made, okay? AKA Brittney Griner was white, and people were making allegations that she said something like this. The WNBA would investigate.
Clark's clean, respected image stood in stark contrast to Griner's controversy. The league's silence seemed to favor Griner over its broader growth potential. It became clear, protecting Griner was no longer a sustainable choice. This wasn't about moral leadership, it was about the rising cost of inaction.
Regardless of what she said, I personally don't have a problem with, players saying whatever they want on the bench. I just wish that everybody was treated equally, right? In the sense that if a white player says something on the bench that can be interpreted as, racial, that people don't lose their minds, right? Or if fans say things that are racial, that people don't lose their minds.
So when the suspension finally came, it didn't feel like a principled stand. It felt like damage control. But there was another force behind the decision: Caitlin Clark. Her rise to superstardom didn't just shape the media narrative, it forced the league's hand and transformed a disciplinary issue into a pivotal moment for women's basketball.
This is going to be history. It's like what I told her. That's pretty epic that we get to watch her, because not a lot of games here in Dallas with somebody that big of a star.
Clark has revolutionized the WNBA in just her first season. She arrived with a level of fanfare that few athletes, men or women, ever achieve. Her electrifying performances have drawn in waves of new fans, many watching women's basketball for the first time.
Then you got a young, the stereotypical white girl, pretty, skinny, is better than it comes into the sport and becomes the Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
She's become the face of a new generation. Fans love her. Sponsors and networks are lining up. Clark isn't just the next big thing. She is the moment. Her appeal lies in her incredible talent and spotless reputation, both on and off the court.
She's not the first white girl, but she's the first white superstar at the levels where she's scoring these, the threes she's shooting. She's like a Steph Curry. She's the first actual superstar that people care.
Every time she steps on the floor, she breaks records and captures headlines. Highlight reels, viral clips, sold-out arenas. Clark generates all of it. And as she soared, Griner's actions stood in painful contrast. While one stirred division, the other inspired loyalty.
No, the point is, Vinny, if Caitlin Clark goes and is playing, they're watching it. Guess what was just announced yesterday?
What?
Caitlin Clark's injured. She'll be out for 2 weeks.
Good.
Let's see what happens to viewership.
Good.
Let's see what happens to viewership.
TV networks couldn't ignore the numbers. Clark's games were drawing record viewership. Protecting Griner would have risked alienating the very audience driving this growth. This wasn't just a PR calculation, it was a business one. And the data told a clear story.
Do you think Caitlin Clark on her own is going to save this thing? There's no way, especially with what she said and how they're all going to eat her alive, because she's a white girl in a league with predominantly black women.
Clark's jersey became a top seller in weeks. Her games regularly doubled the viewership of others. For a league that's long struggled to break into the mainstream, she's a breakthrough. And with that success came dependency, the WNBA's. Future increasingly hinges on her star power. The Griner controversy only made that more evident.
So many WNBA players hate Caitlin Clark so much when she is the best thing that could have happened to the league. And she's not the best thing that happened to the league because she's white. It's because she's a good player. It's because she's the best player.
To fans and sponsors alike, the suspension marked a shift, an alignment between values and action, long demanded but rarely delivered. But now comes the real test. Was this a one-off move born from pressure, or is it the start of a tougher, more principled WNBA? One thing is certain. Whatever the league does next will define its legacy.